It's time to talk some hoops. It's Basketball Jones, giving you behind-the-scenes, in-depth looks each week at a special guest from the basketball world. We know you're ready for basketball to be back, but no one's jonesing for it like your host, Mark Jones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Basketball Jones. I'm your host, Mark Jones. And before we get started, I want to thank all of the first responders out there working in the emergency rooms, the ICUs, and those also out there efforting a cure for COVID-19 in these very turbulent times we're living in. And also want to shout out to those who are working on reform for social justice and for racial equality, as we all strive to become a better, more perfect union, as we support the Black Lives Matter movement and lifestyle in this world right now, as we try to all get along and move towards racial equality. Having said all that, time to bring in our guest for today's show on the Basketball Jones, bringing in multi-time All-Star and head coach of the Vanderbilt Condors, former NBA star, Jerry Stackhouse. Stack, thanks for joining us, man. And boy, when I see you with the anchor down there,
yeah,
I think about how time really flies in a good way. Congratulations on your recent success, and what's new with you?
man, just trying to navigate all these waters, man. Unprecedented times that we're dealing with here, and it's just been crazy trying to recruit doing everything virtually now. But we've still been busy, still been getting kids in, and I'm excited about getting them back. We're getting them back on August 3rd. A lot of teams are back already, but we've been a little extra cautious, making sure that we have all our protocols in place. So we're looking forward to getting all of our student athletes back here on August 3rd.
It's crazy because I'm sure that you never envisioned a time where second year on the job where communication comes down to Zoom meetings, much more at the opposite end of the spectrum from the in-person meetings and the way that we're used to conducting our normal business. But hey, let's talk about where you are in recruiting and what kind of goals you have set in year two at Vandy. I know everyone's excited about you being there.
Yeah, we're really excited too, and we knew it was kind of a tough gig last year. We got started really late, getting hired in April and really taking over someone else's team and players, and I felt good about where we were at the time. And then we had some injuries last year that kind of sidetracked some things. But now, really finally having an opportunity to put our imprint on it, go out and get the guys that we feel best fit our system, our style of play, which is really a pro style. I think it's really attractive to guys because we talk about opening up the floor. We like we're looking at fives that can be out on the floor and do different things on the floor. Play it and dribble handoffs, because that's where the game is going now. It's really going to positionless basketball, and that's what we're offering here. So we're glad to had a couple of pieces that we brought in last year, DJ Harvey and Quentin Millard-Brown, guys that sat out and were able to practice every day, and now so we feel like we got a great nucleus coming back because our young guys were forced to play a ton of minutes. Scottie Pippen Jr. is one of those guys. Dylan DeSue. Bunch of guys that were able to, thrust into a heavy role as freshmen, and we're looking for that to pay dividends in their second year.
Stack, I know you've always been a tremendous student of the game. What was, as a coach, I know you learned about your team a lot and the personnel that you had last year, and subsequent to that, the people you have aboard this year in uniform, including the guys that sat out. But what did you learn most about yourself as a coach last year?
Well, I think a lot of it it's not just, it goes back to my playing days, Mark. It's really
right.
Like I've seen so many different dynamics just sitting in that seat as a player, and even as a coach toward the end of my year, end of my playing career. I felt like just taking a look at the coaches' dynamics. So I kind of knew how we wanted to play and the style that we created. That we're really a defensive team first. And sharing the ball offensively and doing, and I like to just take a look at our personnel and take advantage of their strengths. I think a lot of people go wrong where they come in and say, okay, well, this is how we've had success before. Yeah, in the G League we won championships doing this. I've been around teams that had long runs in the playoffs, and my grassroots teams have had a lot of success doing these same things. But within that, there have always been special talents, and you try to make sure that you don't just cater everything to how we feel that this is the blueprint of how things should go, as opposed to saying, okay, we got a special talent here. Let's kind of trend toward the things that to their strengths. And I like to approach it that year. And unfortunately, we hadn't been able to see all of our new pieces. I mean, guys that we recruited and seen them in a high school setting, but we haven't been able to see them, against, other college players and to really know what they can do. But I'm looking forward to that over these next few weeks, figuring out, what we really have. And we've been doing really good in the recruiting. We had a couple of top, 150 commits that's been big for our program, and looking to add another one possibly this week. So we're in a good place there. And it's a lot of people talk about college, say it's all about the recruiting and the talent. And I think that's a piece of it. But at the same time, it's what can you get guys to do? You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, where you can everybody has a good system and, been around basketball a long time, but what are those intangibles that you can preach to them and try to teach them to do to get them to do their job? And I think we do a pretty good job of that.
Stack, you've always impressed me as a guy that has seen the world in a panoramic sense, a global sense. And with what's happening in the world right now, as a college coach, when we mentioned the Black Lives Matter movement off the top of the show, when you have young African-American men that you are coaching, and I've spoken about it before, there's a little bit of a responsibility on that coach when you look a mom and dad in the eye and say, I'm taking your 18-year-old son for the next 4 years, and I'm going to take care of them. And we've seen, going back to the tragic murder of George Floyd, that there are a range of reactions amongst head coaches collegiately, whether it be football or basketball. And some, I think, have really hit the mark. Others maybe have come up a little bit short. But what is it you say to a parent in this day and age, especially a Black parent, where you've got to be an extra shield and have a deep understanding of issues specific to Black players on your team, whether it be being pulled over in a car off campus, whether it be being treated unfairly in the community or somewhere beyond? What are those conversations like now with those parents, as opposed to a year from now? I got to guess that they were much different than they are now.
Well, yeah, I think it's there's a heightened sense, obviously, because of what has happened with George Floyd and Breonna, all of these different scenarios that have played out right in front of our eyes. I think the fact that the pandemic has really put us quarantining and being at home and being able to see this thing and it play over and over again, it really heightened our senses. But I mean, normally we would be, back to practice, and we got something that we're focused on and we got to go to the next day to where it would have been swept under the rug. And I think that because of how it happened, these kids they're fired up, they're fired up to get back here and protest and do all different things. I did an exercise with my team just to have them put down on paper, whether it was a paragraph, and a lot of them wrote a full page. Obviously, that's what Vanderbilt students do, and just
with those 1,400 SAT scores.
Right. So, but just to hear the different range. I mean, I got guys that are extremely optimistic that, so much excitement and so many people that they feel that there's going to be significant change. And then I have kids who feel like, a lot hasn't happened up until this point. It's been 300 years and nothing happened. I don't feel like anything is going to happen right away. But the consensus that I get from it, they want to do something, and it's our charge as leaders to make sure that they do things in the right way and in a tactful way to where it really has an impact. Not just coming out and wanting to pump our fist and do all these type of things, but doing it in a way to where we can really move the needle. And I've been watching a lot of different things from coaches and it's unfortunate that I think some guys are really trying to take a step, but at the same time, it's like, where have you been? Now, it almost comes off as a recruiting ploy. You're taking such a huge stance now in Black Lives Matter. And, but yeah, where was this? I mean, you've had these platforms for, a number of years, and no one's going to knock you off of your pedestal of where you are if you were to take these stands. Dean Smith did it, so
right.
he was one of the first ones to tip. So I think, and at the same time, you got to say, okay, you got to start somewhere, right? But
sure.
I just feel like we got to make sure that these guys' hearts are in the right place, because I've been on some calls where, the focus have just been about getting back to playing. And it's like, man, George Floyd just died 2 days. We need to talk about something else other than when are we getting guys back to play.
Yeah.
So, the head coach's calls have been a little tense on,
right.
from my standpoint, because, because it's, again, I've been fortunate. I'm at a place that's, somewhat progressive. I mean, I'm one of the first Black, coach in this school's history. And I have been a ton of this in the SEC conference. But we're not only am I, the first African-American coach, we have an African-American football coach. We have an African-American and a female AD. So we're trying to do some things right. So I can't sit here and bash my, administration for it. But I think we're the ones that could be a part of the solution as far as continuing to make those hires. That's what it's about, man. We can talk all these things. Everybody say we want to do this. Show it, and the proof is in the pudding. Show it in your hires. My staff, looks like that. I don't have to make any change. I have, Blacks, I have women, I have, Asians, I had a Native American. So, I mean, it's like, I run the gamut with, giving guys opportunities. So
looks like America.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that, people will put their money where their mouth is. And it's everybody. I mean, the league, the NBA has done a great job. It's always been progressive in that standpoint, but they could do better too. I mean, it's like at the coaches level. Yeah, we got a lot of African-American coaches that have come through the NBA, but where is it at the next level, at the executive level, at the ownership level? We want to see more things. And it's tough, Mark, because just like me, I want people to kind of have a mindset that I have and kind of look at things. Not everybody needs to look the same on my staff, but we got to have kind of go in the same direction. And I think that's what the trend is going to. And you start to see a lot of these hedge fund guys are starting to own teams. That's who they've been looking at as far as general manager. They want people that have their same background. They feel more comfortable with them. And so I think we got to get out of our comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah. Some of those uncomfortable conversations are really what's going to drive what's happening right now in a better direction for everybody, not just in athletics. But hey, you've worn so many different hats when it comes to basketball as an all-star player. Let's go back to Raptors 905, where you really cut your teeth in a sense in the coaching game, and was the head coach with Raptors 905, and you guys won a G League championship back there. Tell me what kind of impact it had on you as a coach there, because you had two guys with that squad in Pascal Siakam, who's an all-star player now, and Fred VanVleet, two guys that really developed into top-notch players under your tutelage. What was that experience like?
Well, I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, we talk about those guys because they're, world champions now. But, I like to talk about all the other guys that was there when those guys weren't there. The Brady Heslips, the CJ Leslies, and all these guys that were, kept the wheel rolling when we didn't have, Fred came in, and Pascal was, Pascal. Those guys have unbelievable heart, but they still learn. They needed to learn how to share the floor with other good players. And even when I was with the Raptors under Coach Casey, I mean, I was always making sure that I had those guys in the gym, when they weren't in the rotations. Let's go upstairs and get some work. They had to understand what that work looked like, and they were there. To their credit, a lot of guys have helped. Pascal working with him. I mean, Rico Hines is one of the first ones that was working with the kid out in UCLA and the run that he has out there. All those player development pieces and things that we had in the Raptors organization, then coming down and applying that on the court, and me making sure that they were paying attention. With this, I had to get at Pascal one time. He come down to the 905 and he have his his headphones in, like, yo, hold on, player, hold on. That don't. So I think that's where you just set the tone for guys to know that we're serious about winning. We're serious about all the time, no matter whether you're up with the Raptors flying first class or you're on a G League assignment, and we're flying into Portland, Maine. we still have to approach it the same way. And I think those things are just important as the 100 jump shots and the 100 crossovers.
Sure.
Just learning how to share the floor with other good players and how to be professionals. And I thought that organization as a whole, from top to bottom, I always had to give big props to Masai. He gave me my first opportunity.
Right.
He saw me over at Euro camp. I was grassroots. AAU team. I was having great success there, and they asked me to take a team over to Treviso, to Eurocamp. And that's where Masai saw me and was like, man, I'm looking to add a former player to the staff, So I went up and interviewed with Casey, and that went well for the year. And next thing I know, I'm the head coach. A lot of people was like, man, you're already on the bench, just stay there. And I just felt like, man, this is the opportunity for me to go. And there was always going to be that question of, does he have head coach experience, right? No matter how long I played, those are the type of systemic injustices that they try to use against us. Like
perceptions,
I've been playing back. I mean, I've been in the game of basketball at a professional level for 20 years, but but I hadn't paid my dues.
It's really ridiculous when you think about it, man.
It's ridiculous,
it really
man. But it's part of it. But it was a great opportunity for me to take one step back to obviously take two steps forward. I leapfrogged a lot of guys as far as head coaching and as far as one of those next guys. And then this opportunity just, fell in my lap, because of the relationship that I had in the G League. Malcolm got the job. He saw me work firsthand, with guys and how we approach things within our team dynamic, within just our player development, and knowing that was the job here. We may not always get 5-star talent because of some of the academic barriers that we have, but we're going to get 4 stars, and now it's about developing them and having them take that next step of becoming a 5-star type talent. And I think that was the attraction to us both.
You brought up a good point when you talked about some of the perceptions and some of the things that they would otherwise see as a barrier to you becoming a head coach. But I know that nothing's ever been given to you. You've earned everything. And you mentioned the word grassroots, and going over to Treviso, Italy, and being an AAU guy before that. And you have your own Stackhouse elite program that has done great things in youth basketball throughout the years. How valuable is that? Because you obviously have a great feel for the game at all levels. How important is it to have a feel for the game right at the bottom of it, right out of the mud, as they like to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's great because, I really enjoy that level. Not that I don't enjoy dealing with pros because they're exceptionally talented, but when you get them at that raw point where they don't really have a lot of bad habits and you can kind of create good habits, I really enjoyed that. You see them get better really quick, and just being able to be see both sides of it, being on the professional side and seeing them before that stage. Before college, where I was dealing with a lot of kids, whether it was, Brandon or a number of kids that we had that was going through that process of being recruited, by, Power 5 conference and Power 5 teams. I had a perspective on that other side of it with all the noise and all of the crazy things that go on. I mean, it's just the reality of what it is. But again, knowing who we are, we stay above the fray with that. We're not, we don't have any bags. The only bags that we have is backpacks and book bags.
Hey, I remember Brandon Ingram, and you said Brandon. Everyone might know it's Brandon Ingram, who is from the same hometown, Kinston, North Carolina, as you. What is your favorite Brandon Ingram story as he became a part of Stackhouse Elite? And by the way, I've been working on my I have a vote for the all NBA teams and MVP most improved. I've got him right there for him and Bam Adebayo, I think, for most improved player in the NBA. But tell me your best Brandon Ingram story as he entered your program.
Well, I guess one of the best ones was he didn't want to go, man. Like, he just his dad basically was like, man, you're going. Like I said, he was just kind of a kid that just wanted to stay around home, and he's still that way. He's a homebody and just wanted to play basketball. He liked to go to the gym by himself. But his dad was like, man, Stack, y'all been working together all summer. You're gonna go play, and like
right.
when he was, and then when he got there, he enjoyed it, being with the kids so much. And I mean, it was like 7th, 8th grade, so it was like his first time he had ever really been away from home, for
wow.
staying in the hotels with other kids and all of that. But man, he's just a great kid, man. I mean, more so than anything else I could say about him. He works. He loves to play. Loves to be in the gym. He has a great smile. He has a great personality. Right. I want him to take advantage of that more in the marketing and off the floor.
Sure.
But he just wants to go to the gym and hoop. So
yeah.
you can't be mad at that. I feel like as he get older and mature, some of those things will still be there because his game will be at that level, but he has no really interest in sitting all day at a photo shoot or shooting a commercial.
Yeah.
He just wants
He's
to
just
go
about
hoop.
ball, huh? He's just
That's
about
it.
ball. His hotel is right across the way over here. I'm in the bubble.
In the bubble. Man, they've done a great job with that, man. I'm excited to see what Adam had. I mean, I saw the barbershop going up. I was like, man.
Guys are getting cleaned up. Guys are definitely getting cleaned up. I see pictures of guys playing cornhole and going fishing and playing beach volleyball and having
a lot of
swimming
golf
races in the pool, a lot of golf. But like you said, I haven't seen your guy Brandon Ingram out there at all. He just low keys it, doesn't he?
Man, he's in there.
Have you spoken to him at all recently?
Yeah, I've talked to him a couple of days after the last game. He got off to a nice start. Had like 12 points in 11 minutes. So I was like, he's still feeling good. But again, he didn't stop. He was working out and doing all the things, even during the quarantine, making sure that he was getting himself in the gym. Those are just little subtle things that I'm always in his ear about, man. Like, it's gonna come back. So make sure that you're ready when they come back. But again, it's the distractions for him just aren't there. I mean, he wants to, and I think that's why everybody sees it. That him and Zoe. Those guys love to be in the gym. They love to work. And I just think they got a great nucleus there that, with Zion and Jackson and Hayes. I mean, all those just young, talented pieces there that I think that they can grow with and be really, really good.
Yeah, hopefully they make a playoff push down here in Orlando. I remember one of your great quotes about guys from Kinston. We don't have no puppies down here.
Yeah. We don't raise no puppies around here. Straight dogs. So I think they're seeing it now, and it's a great, the fact that he's even mentioned as the most improved, man, because this shows that he continues to get better. He's still really young. You know what I'm saying? Just 21. I mean, he'd probably be 22 in maybe in a couple weeks. Wow. So he got a lot of future ahead of him. So we're excited about it for sure.
Okay, so Kinston doesn't make no puppies. They make dogs. They make all-star players like yourself. G League championship coaches like yourself, and singers too.
Ooh.
So I remember, bro, I was doing a game in Dallas one time when you were with the Mavericks, and you took me into your music studio and showed me the whole setup there, and had a great time. And then you've knocked it out. People watching might not know, they might already know that you have that Lou Rawls, which is a classic kind of baritone voice, man. Probably you raised in a church and sang in a church, right?
Yeah, I was forced. I was made to sing in the choir. You know what I'm saying?
Like all of us,
we had a small congregation, so we took most of the kids in the congregation and okay, you're in the choir today. So I eventually got them to let me become an usher because I couldn't make choir practice during the week. I had basketball practice.
I know.
That's how I got out of that.
That 9 o'clock service always kills me too, man. I'm an 11 o'clock guy, okay?
No doubt.
But hey, listen, I remember you sang very smoothly the national anthem one year when you were a member of was it with the Mavericks that one time?
I sang it with the Mavericks.
A couple of times, right?
Milwaukee and in Brooklyn, man. So it was kind of that's in Brooklyn. It was kind of like a good luck charm. Every time I sang that, we won. So. I think I might have lost one game. I think that was the Milwaukee game we played Atlanta. So that was but I got a pretty good record otherwise.
Okay. So that begs the question, Stack. Vandy, are we gonna see you on the mic?
Hey man,
I
might have to bless the people. I might have to bless the people in Nashville, man. I think again, it's like I I got to get this thing rolling a little bit, So
Okay.
I feel like when I get about, I got to put a good number on it. When we get to the point where we're about 7 or 8 games above 500, then I feel like I have some time on my hand
You
to
come stomping out on the microphone for the anthem. Okay.
bless the people.
Okay. Hey, I saw a great article, and we like to talk about, lifestyle issues and things beyond the 94 by 50 piece of hardwood here on the Basketball Jones. Read a great story on your daughter today. Alexis wrote a great article, Syracuse University Journalism School, talking about the impact of growing up as a child of, yourself and your wife. And I thought it was really awesome how her thing was, it made her very global. Talked about all the different places she lived in: Philadelphia, Dallas, Atlanta, and how, the places she's been afforded her great experiences, and speaking fluent Spanish now as a rising senior at Syracuse. What do you make of parenting and the impact it has on children? Because, I'm always sensitive to when a guy gets traded in the NBA, we hear all these guys talk about, oh, it's a good deal for this team, it's a good deal for that team. And I can remember going to pick up my daughter one day at school, and her friend's dad was the coach of the Miami Dolphins, who had got fired that day. And she was crying, like in tears, when I went to go pick up my daughter. And that was the first time it really, really, really hit me like, hey, players, coaches, they're real people with families, and it has an impact on the kids beyond the headlines you see on the screen. So, you've raised 2 awesome kids, or college graduates. And what do you think the impact is of parenting, coaching, basketball, and the type of kids that it ultimately produces?
Well, man, it's a tough business, but I think you have to have a great partner, and I have an unbelievable partner. So I just think, she talked about it in that article. I mean, her homeschooling, just to, give us some flexibility to where whenever the season was over, we didn't really our life didn't depend on rotate around the school year. Like I said,
Right.
We were, we made a long run and we're, playing in June, great. But if we, got out at the end of April or May, we're not waiting another month for school. We could pick up all of their homeschool books and take them wherever we wanted to. And I just think that it afforded us, just if there was a change, because when I first got to Dallas, it wasn't sure that I was going to be there, a part of another trade to somewhere else. I wound up being there 6 years. But it's just like, you never know. And I think that's how we kind of planned it, to make sure that, we gave ourselves flexibility. Now, probably the ideal situation for the kids. I mean, we'd love to have gotten them into, school a little bit earlier, public school, just so they can get all of that. But they got all of those social things. She talked about it in the piece. She got so much, different type of, social stimulation. And then, like I said, I would come in and, I was the principal. I was the principal of the homeschool.
I was going to ask you, man, were you the phys ed teacher or the science teacher or the math teacher? What was your role in that?
Yeah, I was like an executive. I would come in like, okay, we've had enough school today. Let's go ahead and do something fun. So I mean, it was a pleasant. Then my mom was like, no, that's not happening. Right. So I was the good cop. Mom was the bad cop. But again, like I said, her being willing to take on that role and find, even though like there were subjects that she wasn't great at, that she didn't enjoy teaching, like science and whatnot, we brought in a tutor to help those things. But Lexi enjoyed it. I mean, they were in some great cities. Dallas was a great place for us. Atlanta, but again, it's like they feel like, even when we were talking about Atlanta, she was like, I got traded to Atlanta. I didn't get traded to Atlanta. I signed Atlanta as a free agent, but it's just in their mind. We got traded again. So I think I just wanted a place for them at certain point when they got to middle school. And I was probably like in year 13, 14. I didn't know exactly how much longer. I didn't know I was going to play 4 more years, but I wanted them to be settled now. And wherever I played from there on were kind of one-off years, I would go. And so they got a chance to go and spend some time in Milwaukee. And I think it was it was beautiful for our relationship and our marriage too. As you know,
Right.
I've been together for over 20 years, and I think sometimes you need some space, and now we love the fact that we have our space. From time she's there in Atlanta. She has her fitness studio. She comes to visit and does all those things, but it works great for us. It may not work for everybody, but it works great for us and our family and our dynamic.
Well, you know what, Coach? I know coaches don't like to share playbooks, man, but you got to share that empty nest playbook with me because I'm about to become one myself. My wife and I.
Yeah, man. It's they're never really gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They still they still hit me up. I mean, it's like they're going. I can tell when they're doing great. Because I don't hear from them that much. But then when I see that phone ring a couple times, oh yeah. Something's up, like, hey, they start out. I mean, they're smart.
Sure.
They have a little tact, hey, how you doing? Just calling to check on you, and then they call back the next day with the request. So they're smart about it.
I learned that too. It's always the second or third thing that they really want. The first thing, they don't bring it up. Hey, Stack, before we wrap it up real quick, any final thoughts on what's happening here in Orlando and, your former team, the Toronto Raptors, the defending champs? People seem to forget that they're the final, they're the NBA Finals champions, still reigning, even though this season has been very disjointed because of COVID-19. With this unique situation, any thoughts on what type of team has a chance to come away from this as the Larry O'Brien trophy holder?
Again, I think, like I said before, it's what can you get guys to do? And the thing about it in Toronto, those guys know what to do. I mean, they've been together. They won. They have the experience. So I think they're going to be one of the teams that's right there. I mean, is it an opportunity for a team to get hot? Say a Portland Trailblazer that just could just be hot. A Damian Lillard or Carmelo Anthony, guys that can really get it going for a series. And that's all it takes. Once you get in a series and get an advantage, it puts a little bit more pressure on the other team. So I'm excited, man, to have it back. I thought it was a great idea just to get everybody in a bubble. The fact that they had no positive tests. I mean, I think it's just a great sign that Adam and the colleagues they've done a great job of putting the environment together and trying to do things. When I saw the barbershop going up and different things like that, they're trying to make guys as comfortable as possible. Is it ideal? No, but we know that things aren't going to be ideal during a pandemic in these unprecedented times. But I think that we've got a lot of smart people on both sides that found a way to figure it out because the players had to do it, man. I mean, it was just like everybody was talking about. Yeah, I was hearing a lot of different things. I mean, because of the social injustice issues that some guys felt like they shouldn't play. Man, we provide such a outlet, sports in general, and, especially the game of basketball. The fact that our guys are back on the court and the NBA is about to start back up, man, I'm super excited. I know a lot of the fans are as well.
Yeah, and so far the guys doing a great job of using their platform to illuminate some of the social injustices out there in this world. Stack, tough-minded people always seem to last, and I know some people may know, some may not, but there's some fake tough guys that play basketball. You are a real tough guy.
Man, I appreciate you.
Tough people really survive and do well. And hey, good luck this year with
Thank
the Commodores. I know you guys are going to do well. Always been a big fan of yours and had a lot of respect for the way you carried yourself, not just between the 94x50, but off the court as well. And I'll be looking for that national anthem about a year from now when you're coming off an NCAA appearance with the Commodores, okay? Setting the bar high for you guys.
I appreciate you,
thanks
man.
a lot for joining us, man, and good luck.
Thank you. Have a great day, man. All right.
Stay blessed, man. Thanks.
Same to you.
That's Jerry Stackhouse, NBA All-Star and G League championship coach, joining us on the Basketball Jones. That's it for this week's edition. Don't forget that coming up next week, we have Seth Greenberg as part of our pickup game here on hallpassmedia.com and Sports Business Classroom as well with Bo Estes. That's all for this week's edition of the Basketball Jones, coming to you from the bubble. Remember, when you're at the end of your basketball rope, just tie a knot and hang, folks, right here. See you next week.